What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 65 of the Yard Podcast. I'm your host, Randy.
And I'm your host, Connie.
And as always, we've got Ray with us. It is Tuesday, July 20th. We are coming off of the All-Star break, All-Star game, home run derby, all that good stuff. Dodgers had their first series back, and they were in Colorado. Team notes, since our last recording, they went 2-2. Their last 10, they're 5-5. They're still 2 games back from first place. But they still do have the best run differential in baseball. So hopefully at some point, everything kind of starts falling into place. Obviously, still a very good team, but when you've got the Giants playing as good as they, I guess, still at this point, surprisingly playing as good as they are, kind of got a way to go. So really quickly, I guess not very quickly, but I'm going to go over the Rockies series, just the basic scores, all that good stuff really quickly. The Dodgers took 2 out of 3 against the Rockies with that first game. We had Urias on the mound versus Chichi Gonzalez. Senzatella was pulled. He was scheduled to start that game and was pulled about 2 hours prior to first pitch due to a COVID outbreak, basically in the Rockies organization. We saw that as well. Yankees. So the All-Star game maybe was maybe kind of like a super spreader event, but luckily it seems like nothing serious is coming out of it. So Dodgers pull that one out and win 10-4 behind a line of Urias, who went 5 2/3, 7 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Gave up that grand slam on 89 pitches. Saturday, they pulled out the win as well, 9-2, with Buehler on the mound, who picked up his 10th win of the season, who went 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, no home runs, and 93 pitches. And then unfortunately, Sunday was that back and forth game. They dropped it. Price got the start, which was kind of still a bullpen game at this point, as he's stretching out versus John Gray, who is someone you have talked about as the Dodgers potentially looking at for a
he
trade.
showed exactly why I've been pounding the table for him.
Yep, and the Dodgers did a little bit of work on him. So like maybe they could help lower that trade package just a tiny bit. But we had Price versus Gray. Dodgers unfortunately lost that one 6-5 in the 10th. Price, decent little outing for him. 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, 66 pitches. So before we start talking about the Giants game, let's jump into that Rockies series. If you want, we could start with
the first thing I wanted to point out was in the first game. Coming out of the break, I was really happy with the swings and approach I saw from the Dodgers hitters. Even when they weren't resulting in hits, I was thoroughly pleased with the way they were swinging the bat. Jimmy Sherfy, from what I saw, had a really good slider. He threw a one to Garrett Hampson. It was absolutely filthy. He did leave one hanging to Rogers that I think Rogers doubled on, but then he threw 3 or 4 really, really good ones to Trevor Story. So there's definitely a lot of good in that slider, and maybe the Dodgers can help him make it more consistent. As we saw last night in the Giants game, he threw a lot of good sliders in that one too. So really excited to see what we see from Sherfy from here on out.
Yeah, as for the offense, though, I guess we could touch on that because that was a nice way to start. As we all know, they had that walk-off last Sunday, Max Muncy, the walk-off home run, kind of continued into scoring Friday night. Freaking Betts just coming out and doing his thing, and kind of what we were all hoping and waiting for this entire time. Looking exactly like the guy that we expected him to be until, unfortunately, the injury on, what was it, Saturday. But
so I wanted to say, like, earlier in the season, we were all talking about how his swing looked kind of off. And then I think it was the Cardinal series. We noticed how it looked better. He said he felt better. It didn't automatically, immediately result in hits, but it gradually started getting better. You saw him start to come out of it in the Marlins series. He did really well in the Diamondback series. And before he got hurt, he was killing it in the Rocky series. So I think his approach or his swing mechanic is finally starting to pay off from what we saw like the Cardinal series, where it started to look better.
yeah, we saw him go 3 for 5 in that game, that first game against the Rockies. He did have an RBI on the sac fly, and he did strike out twice, but all around his at bats are just looking a lot better. Will Smith also had a good one, a good game that day. We had you and I had kind of talked about, it might have even been the last episode or the one before that, how he's kind of struggled with runners in scoring position. That game, really good game for him, 2 for 4, 4 RBIs. Chris Taylor had his 3 RBIs in that game. So still quite a few strikeouts, but everybody was hitting. Everybody in the lineup, including Urias, that night had a hit. So that was fantastic.
Urias always
to see.
seems to be able to hit.
Yeah, he's like always seems to surprise me when he gets up there. Like he's batting 243, which is really good. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the only way he's gotten on base this year is his hits. He's not drawing any walks, but hey, when you're a pitcher, who really cares? He swings a good bat. Phil Bickford picked up his first big league hit that day. Pujols came in to pinch hit that game, and when Pujols came in to pinch hit, he actually passed Willie Mays on the all-time hit list with career hit 3,284. So as always, congrats to Pujols. Seems like every game, there's a new milestone reached for him.
Future Dodger Hall of Famer.
Yeah. But Will Smith, just gonna put that Dodger hat on in the Hall of Fame. Just like Chase Utley. Sorry, Phillies fans. He's always gonna put that Dodger hat on. But Will Smith had the 4 RBIs with 2 outs in that game, so that was huge. We've kind of talked about that a bit, like I mentioned, where he has struggled. They left 11 guys on base and went 4 for 14 with runners in scoring position. So
Will Smith had half of those hits. He was 2 for 3 with runners in scoring position, and we talked about his struggles there. So it was nice to see him come out of the gate and do good work. I think it was the Diamondback series. I noticed his swing change too, and apparently over the break he really worked on it, and it's helped him.
Yeah, he's been putting it together, looking really good. Even, I mean,
we can just scrap last night because everybody was bad.
Minus Turner and Muncy. That was really all they had going for him last night. But he had a nice series going for him. Mookie Betts even better until, like we had mentioned, that injury. He went 4 for 4 on 4 for 4 with 4 extra base hits on Saturday. So he was swinging a very hot bat. He actually raised his OPS almost 100 points. It was like by 80, 90 points, something like that. And that's not really something you expect to happen over like 4 games, but Mookie did that. So he had a big game. Max Muncy, as always, seems to always kill it in Colorado. 5 RBIs in that second game, 4 hits for him. And really him and Justin Turner kind of, I guess Turner only had the 1 hit, but he had the 2 RBIs. So they've been getting it done kind of for the Dodgers. Not a whole ton of offense that game. It's funny.
So later on.
They won 9-2, but even if you look at the box score, like Mookie had 4 hits, Muncy had 4 hits, Turner had 1, Pujols had 1, and then Pollock had 2, and that was it. So they came through when they needed to. Freaking Pollock is out here just absolutely crushing the ball. He is tied with Soto this month for the most home runs. So Pollock and Soto are the only players in baseball with 7 home runs in July.
And yet he wasn't in the lineup last night. Interesting.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, with Betts out of there, I get like they want to keep Pollock in there against lefties, but as banged up as this lineup is, no Betts, no Lux. I kind of feel like you could have thrown Pollock in there and just see what happens.
He's been hitting both handed pitches very well recently.
Yeah, I think he hit.
There was no reason for him not to be in there.
Yeah,
and this is no disrespect to like Beatty or Rex, but come on, guys.
Yeah, no, he should have been in there last. Should have been in there last night. He should be in there as much as possible right now at this point. But Dodgers racking up those home runs, like you'd mentioned, that nothing really happened early on in the game. The Dodgers, it was tied up 2-2 in the bottom of the 3rd, and then nothing really got going until the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and then it became a 2-2 game to very quickly a 9-2 game. It was back-to-back games for Betts that he had a leadoff double. Unfortunately, as we all know, he came up limp after scoring on. One point he came up limp after scoring on Muncy's base hit, stayed in the game, but then ended up coming out of the game after his 3rd double of the game in the 7th inning, and that ended up being right hip irritation, which apparently has been something he's been kind of dealing with all season.
Oh yeah. So shoulder and hip injuries are great.
Yeah, now that he's running the bases a little bit more, it seems like it came back to bite him. And then, as we all know, that Sunday game, just not a pretty one.
But before, real quickly, I did want to say that I was actually thoroughly impressed with Buehler on that game, because he was really struggling early, just couldn't really find his command. But then I think after like the 2nd inning, he really started to find it and just kind of cruised to the rest of the game.
Yeah, no, that is true. Because I remember like the first inning or 2 into the game, his pitch count was a little high, and then he settled in and really got it going. I mean, the dude just consistently gives the Dodgers 6 innings every single time he's out there. And it's great. 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, and 2 earned runs.
But he's the only one.
Yeah, he is, unfortunately. But 7 innings at Coors Field and only 4 hits and 2 earned runs, 8 strikeouts, 93 pitches. He didn't give up a home run. The only thing that it came on was the 2 out. He had the RBI double by McMahon, and then obviously the sac fly from Freeland early in the game because he walked 2 guys. So That lack of command hurt him in the bottom of the second, but he quickly found it, got out of it, and then just was kind of doing what he does
Yeah.
best and just
So like
cruised
we
through the
know,
rest of the
like
game.
the pitches don't really break as much in Colorado, but he did a really good job maneuvering through all that. So I was very impressed with the third inning on.
Yeah. And then unfortunately, as we all know, Sunday's game just did not go all that well. They just the pitching wasn't even that bad. I mean, when you look at the pitching lines, the most anyone gave up was Bickford giving up the 2 runs, and that was because one of them was already on second. It just I don't know. They only left 5 guys on base. They went 3 for 11 with runners. Or no, sorry, that's wrong team. Uh, they they didn't even they got basically the same exact numbers. They left 6 on base and went 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position. So I don't know. It just didn't seem like a game that the Dodgers were all fully there. Which again, Coors Field, always some weird stuff happens. So one thing though I do want to talk about, because I don't want to get on him because we all know he's coming back from injury, but does anyone look uglier at the plate right now than Cody Bellinger? Because he just does not seem to look like he's there at all at any point during his at bats. He just looks lost. I don't know if you're seeing anything encouraging coming from him.
I actually do not think he looks lost. He's just not hitting the ball. So from what I'm seeing, he is chasing, but some of these pitches are close, so fine, whatever, and he's fouling them off good. So I have been encouraged about the way I think he's seeing the ball a little better. He's still not driving the ball like he used to. Maybe it's the shoulder injury. We figured that might be a problem with shoulder injuries. So it's just going to be about, can he manage to take walks? I mean, he's done it a few times where he's like, okay, he's taking walks, and other times he's swinging that bullshit. So if he cuts back on swinging that bullshit, like he has been, because when he first came up, struck out a ton. He still strikes out a lot, but his like whiff and strikeout percentage were dropping each and every year. It's If I check, it's probably high this year. So if he cuts that back down, starts walking more, that might, as he just needs to get on base, because I mean he's fast, he can steal bases. So that would be a way to get on. Maybe Pollock and Taylor will drive you home. But yeah, he's just not driving the ball right now. So maybe it's the shoulder. I don't know, but something's not right there.
Yeah, I know Roberts was touching on kind of what he was doing in 2019 when he won his MVP, that he wasn't trying for the power. He was trying to go opposite field. He was trying to just knock in hits. And then with that came the power. He has had a couple hits that made their way to the warning track, or that seemed like maybe they were gone off the bat and then just died. Whether that's a result of the shoulder injury or a result
That's
of
what I was thinking,
the
because
ball
it
being
happened like
dead
three
in.
times in the National Series. It happened once in the Marlins series on what should have been a grand slam. So I was thinking, man, he's just missing these. So I don't know if it's his shoulder or if he's just mishitting barely.
Yeah. But yeah, Roberts in that Sunday game tried to get him at the top of the order to face Gray, who he usually does really well against, and unfortunately, it just did not
So
end up
when I
working
saw
out.
the lineup, I saw, like, my friend was like, "Does Bellinger really need to be up there?" And I was like, "Well, the thing is, I think Roberts, because it's the first inning, Gray's probably going to pump a lot of fastballs in the first inning, so you want to get someone up there who might be struggling. So you want to get him going by seeing a lot of fastballs. So the only two options were Bellinger and Lux, and Bellinger got it. So I was completely fine with it. It didn't work out, obviously, but I mean, I think that was the right call.
Yeah, I wasn't bothered by him hitting leadoff, especially against a guy he has success against when you're trying to get him going. Might as well throw him in there against someone he usually sees well, let alone in Colorado. It just unfortunately did not work. At the end of the day, though, as frustrating as it might be to see him struggling at the plate, it can never overlook what he does on defense. Having him there in center field has been just an upgrade above and beyond. Nothing against Chris Taylor, but I'm not sure there's many guys who can break to a ball the way Cody Bellinger does and reads the ball as well off the bat as Bellinger does. He might be like arguably one of the best, if not right up there with the best defensive outfielder in
Yeah,
baseball.
Kevin Kiermaier, I think, is probably the best to me.
Yeah.
Buxton's also fucking amazing when he's
That's
healthy.
true. When he just doesn't play very much. Yeah,
But yeah,
Buxton's awesome.
yeah.
But yeah, Bellinger's got that natural instinct out there. He reads the ball off the bat so well. His arm's great. So it's good to have him out there for that. Plus, he's just not someone like you're just not going to bench him. They've got to get him going. He's got to bat. He's got to get those things going. Unfortunately, in that Sunday game, Muncy went 0 for 5, Bellinger 0 for 4, McKinstry 0 for 4, Lux 0 for 4. So just not a great game. I mean, you have Will Smith doing it again, 3 for 4, Turner 2 for 5, Pollock freaking 2 for 4 again. But
Speaking of Smith, I really don't understand how he hit that home run. That pitch was just shit, complete shit. Don't know why he swung at it, but obviously glad he swung at it. He did a really good job at getting his hands in and somehow getting the barrel on the ball. Um, that was highly impressive of him to hit that home run because
now
again that pitch was awful.
I'm hoping things are kind of going for him because I feel like obviously any fan of any team will say, well, if this guy can get going and this guy can get going, we're going to be good. But like, I feel like there's certain guys in our lineup that like, once they're kind of all locked in, they're good. And Smith isn't necessarily one of those top people, but I do think he's one of those people that if he can
He kind
kind
of
of
has to be because he's going to hit in the middle of the order.
yeah,
So
and that's why, like with him where he's at in the lineup, you kind of have to have him get going. And I've said this all year, and you've agreed that until once Betts gets going, the entire team gets going. And we saw that in Colorado. You have Betts go off those first 2 games. Team does really good. Don't have him in the next game. Don't have him in the Giants game. They struggle a bit. Granted, Giants game, very good pitcher. But I do think that Betts
he was a good
sets
pitcher,
the
but they
tone.
had their chances
Oh, they did.
against Gossman, and they completely let him off the hook.
Yeah, they did. But like with Smith, I mean, if you look at his baseball savant, basically everything is red. His chase rate, really good. Base on ball percentage, really good. Hard hit percentage, same thing. So he's barreling up the ball. His whiff percentage is at like 84th percentile. So he's looking really good there. So hopefully it's all starting to kind of come together for him. We absolutely need that from him. Especially,
and the thing is, he's been fine with nobody on base. When people get on base,
yeah,
it's been a struggle. But the few games since the All-Star break, he's come through in those situations. So that's nice to see.
Yeah, and then of course, we had some defensive kind of course, miscues in that game because it just seems like they want to play really bad defense as of the last month and a half, who knows? I don't know.
I don't know what happened with Chris Taylor. I'm not sure how he dropped that.
I just know they said he lost it in the sun. But then there was the one that went off Turner's glove, I think.
Turner had a few. Turner had a few where I was like, all right, bro, come on now.
DH next year. Woo. But I mean, hell, and it'll keep Turner healthy. If we could DH him and Smith, we'd be in a pretty solid place.
He's been healthy this year.
Yeah, it's surprised. He went in and did that whole 30 with his wife Courtney and stayed lean and did his Pilates and all that good stuff, and it seems to be working for him. And I think everyone else needs to start following that because we have way too many injuries on this team. Like Mr. Gavin Lux leaving the game in the 9th with a hamstring strain. I watched the video.
Conspiracy theory: he's not injured.
What?
I'm just gonna say that.
So you think he's not injured enough to be put on the IL? Because obviously he was hurt because he pulled up. Maybe they just are like, you know what, dude, you're kind of like, you just need some time, so we're not even going to attempt to.
I'll get more into it, but they're working on something, and they just didn't want to be like, oh, we're going to send you down. They don't want to go through that again. So it was more just like, okay, just kind of pull up here.
Yeah, because I thought at first he'd be, I thought at first, like, oh, maybe it'd be a couple days, especially with someone so young like Lux, like the body just kind of, it rehabs itself a little bit quicker. But on Monday, he was put on the 10-day IL, and Robert said it's going to take some time in regards to that injury.
He was jumping up and down like a jackass in the clubhouse after home runs.
Oh, in the dugout? Yeah, so he's, yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. I mean, it's not. Hey, if it gets him going, I don't care because we need him to get going. Also, Seager's supposed to sort of be back this week, so
Wednesday.
Yeah, they don't necessarily need Lux to play shortstop right now. If Seager is back any day now.
So here's the thing: when Seager comes back, whether it's Lux, McKinstry, or whoever, if Seager does what he usually does, and the lineup is just going to be that much stronger, there is no weaknesses except for maybe second base. So they're really not counting on them to do anything.
Yeah. Well, and then you just put Taylor at second, and then you've got in the
Or
outfield
Taylor. I don't.
Pollock.
I haven't liked what I've seen from Taylor. I'm going to be honest. I don't know what's going on, but have not really been thrilled. He hit that home run in the first at bat, and I was like, okay, Taylor's still Taylor. Has he had a hit since? I'm not sure. Don't recall.
I actually
Don't think so.
haven't looked at his numbers. I just know he
He
had.
just hasn't looked all that great. But it's just 4 games, so does it really matter all that much? Probably not.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping it doesn't mean he's gonna start trailing down. Because if he starts trailing off, then somebody's really gonna need to step up.
Yeah. No, they're kind of playing thin at this point still. And then unfortunately, I feel like I heard too much about Charlie Blackmon in Colorado, and I feel like whenever you hear too much about Charlie Blackmon, things are not going well. Like he had his first stolen base of the season against us this weekend, and then he had that 2-out, 2-run walk-off home run off Bickford in the 10th after Will Smith had his heroics in the top of the 8th with the 2-run home run to give the Dodgers the lead, and then Jansen blew it in the bottom of the 9th, and Will Smith is like, all right, no problem, I got your back, top of the 10th, RBI base hit, boom. And then the same thing, runner on
I really
second.
didn't think Pujols was gonna score.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I walked away from the TV for a second and I hear, oh, Pujols is on the way home. And I was like, oh, fuck. And then I like, luckily I heard he was safe, but like I wasn't even watching the TV. I just heard it as I was walking away. And I was like, oh, God.
I was just telling like people, I was like, if there's a base hit, Pujols isn't scoring. Pujols got a base hit. Sure enough, it was pretty easily too. And I was like, well, never mind then.
Yeah, Pujols turns those wheels on sometimes. It's like a cartoon where he looks like he's moving, but like he's barely moving. That's Pujols.
He's trying. Good God will. He's really trying to run fast.
I respect it. Just don't get hurt, because
it's kind of like James Loney. James Loney used to try to run really fast. He just wasn't moving anywhere.
Yeah, they look like they're running really fast, but they're barely moving. So yeah, not a good game the way that one went off, unfortunately. I don't really care too much about the pitching. I'm so over what these half are bullpen games, half aren't bullpen games. Reed came in, had a decent outing, and then the error cost him that run. Vesia has been killing it since he's been called up, for the most part. Kelly gave up the 2 hits, unfortunately gave up the run, but then got back-to-back strikeouts to end the inning. Treinen still doing his thing. Jansen, unfortunately, it's his first blown. It's only his 3rd blown save of the season and his first one since like May, which is crazy.
But he was starting to show some kinks though. I brought it up before the All-Star break episode that he had been getting into more trouble, but he's been getting out of it. But it's only a matter of time before they were going to start catching up to him, and unfortunately, it caught up to him in Colorado.
Yeah, I always have a hard time with Jansen pitching in Colorado to begin with because of his heart stuff and the stuff in the past. So I'm never a big fan of seeing him out there on the mound in Colorado anyways, because as a diehard baseball fan, like, yes, obviously I want the best option out there for my team to win, but also when it comes to the health, especially of a guy who has like 3 kids and another one on the way, like, guy, I don't want to see you go out there and get hurt. I don't want to see you rushed off to the hospital. I don't want to see anything happen with your heart. So anytime he's out there in Colorado, it stresses me out. So I try not to look too much into his pitching opportunities when he's out there. But it is something I plan on keeping an eye on, especially against a team like the Giants. I would assume at some point he has to get in this series. I hope. I mean, it'd be nice if we score enough runs. We don't need him, but the Giants are good enough that I don't really see that happening. So he's someone I'll be keeping a closer eye on over this next week. So hopefully we can kind of come back next week and have better things to say about him. But with Lux leaving that game in the 9th, as I mentioned, he got put on the 10-day IL. Rex was called up to take his spot on the roster. And then also yesterday, Monday, Gonzalez was activated from the IL before the game against against the Giants. And then Jake Reed was optioned to AAA. Dodgers got their asses handed to them last night. What was 7-2?
Yeah, because of Victor Gonzalez. It was 3-2.
It was one of those games that like Gonsolin in the first inning struggled, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is not going to be not going in the right direction. Then Muncy and Turner hit the back-to-back home runs at the bottom of the first. I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad. Like Kevin Gossman, I looked at his numbers prior, and we had faced him twice at Dodger Stadium. One of those games, I want to say it was like 6 innings pitched, didn't give up a run, didn't walk anyone, and that was in May. Then we faced him in June, and it was like 5 innings pitched, 5 walks, which is the most he's given up in a season, 3 earned runs on 3 hits. So I was like, let's see what Gossman we're getting tonight. Gossman was also coming off of the emergency family leave or list, whatever that is. So hopefully whatever was going on there, his family is okay and everybody is healthy and nothing bad happened. But I was very interested to see how he was going to pitch in last night's game, because clearly he had something going on with family, and you never know how that is going to affect a pitcher, understandably so, on the mound. Last night was Gossman's shortest outing of the season. He only went 3 innings, gave up 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, 2 home runs on 80 pitches. So the Dodgers had him where they wanted him, had a chance to get into the bullpen early, had a chance to take the game and get things going. And unfortunately, it just completely fell apart in the top of the 7th when they brought in Gonzalez, obviously his first appearance since coming off the IL, and he didn't even
Phantom IL at that.
Yeah, 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, 0 walks, 1 strikeout. So yeah. I don't know what's going on with Gonzalez this year. For a while, I thought it was the command. It seems to be more. Are you seeing anything, or is this just like?
So I will say, I think his.
Like, I don't want to say or believe that his rookie season was just one of those lucky ones. Like, there has to be something there that.
Well, I mean, there is like the sophomore slump or those things, but so yesterday I felt like he was throwing strikes. Unfortunately, they were, way too over the plate. I don't know. And at that point, I just felt like, so I do know some people were like, well, why didn't Dave just pull him? And I was like, well, they've used a lot of bullpen pieces over the last few days and over the last month probably. So he's just gonna have to eat this.
Yeah, he has to
unfortunately.
eat those. Yeah. It was like he comes in, there's a runner on first, 1 out. It's base hit, sack fly, 2 out double, RBI double, and then he gets rough swinging to end the inning. And it's just like, holy shit, we just went from this being a 3-2 game to 7-2, all in the matter of 1 inning. And like, I know a lot of people were like, well, why didn't he just leave Bickford in? And it's like, Bickford's been used quite a
lot
bit, and he was already at an inning and a third in that game. So
pitched pretty well.
Yeah, he did.
And then
you've got to get Gonzalez in there. He's an arm that hasn't pitched in over a week. The guys just came from Colorado. He did not have to do any of that. And so I felt like you've got to get him in there. And it just did not work out well, unfortunately.
100%. He needed to be in there. He should have been in there. And again, when people were like, oh, Robert should have pulled him, at that point, there was no use for it. He just has to eat it, unfortunately. So he had to eat it. If this was like a game later on, he probably would have been pulled after a few hits or after he faced his third batter. But yeah, there was he just unfortunately just had to be in that situation because the Dodgers need someone to eat some innings because Gonsolin can't eat innings. I love Tony G to death. He just has not been able to get it together. I don't know if it's his shoulder still bothering him or because he got a late start. Something just seems way off. It's just
honestly at this point, I thought he would have figured it out. I did not think we would still be having him go 3.5 or 3 1/3 inning and throwing 80 pitches. Like, I did not think we would still be at that point this far into the season. So it's unfortunate.
Also, him not getting down that bunt after McKinstry's double was really like, bro, you're not helping yourself here. You really had like just a shit game all around.
I will say I turned away for like a second. I forget what I was making dinner. And so I didn't see it, but I got on Twitter and I was like, oh shit. Well, I can see Gonsolin didn't lay down a bunt because everyone's very angry about it. Pitchers not being able to lay down a bunt is frustrating, especially one that was a hitting pitcher in college. He was probably laying down bunts quite a bit. So I feel like that's something he should do. I feel like every professional baseball player should be able to lay down a bunt.
Sometimes I feel like those players who were hitting pitchers in college, like they play different positions, I feel like they miss bunts on purpose just so they can swing the bat. And sometimes I'm like, all right, whatever, fine, I don't care. But then he ended up swinging at just complete garbage, and I'm like, well, I guess a strikeout's better than a double play. But he's on second, so how are you really gonna hit to a double play unless you're just completely unlucky? And then I don't know what Taylor was doing. That was bad. Who's bad? Who bad at second? Muncy. I think
Mm,
Muncy got on.
yeah,
He
I think
walked,
so.
and then I mean they didn't score, so it was brutal.
Yeah, they gave us some hope in the bottom of the first. I thought, okay, maybe we'll be good. And then they didn't get a hit after McKinstry's double until like
Double,
the
yeah.
eighth or ninth inning. So it
The
was
ninth, Pollock singled in the ninth. That was the
yeah,
first
I
hit.
think
Yeah.
they had one hit against the Giants bullpen last night. So that's usually not going to cut it. I will say, however, the Giants got into our bullpen early as well. I think that was kind of expected though with Gonsolin. I do not think the Giants were expecting to only get three innings from Gossman. So
Yeah.
this could be very beneficial to the Dodgers. It is a 4-game series. So the fact they got into their bullpen that early, granted they did really well, but they still had to use arms that I guarantee Kapler was not expecting to use last night.
And I feel like the Dodgers have hit Alex Wood well, so maybe we can get into the bullpen again today.
Yeah. And so that's just sometimes like if things aren't working your way, you've got to look for the positives. And that was a big thing for me last night was get Gossman out, start wearing out those arms. Cause this series is going to be a battle. I don't know how I kind of feel like it's going to be a split series. I don't see the Dodgers winning the next three just because the Giants are a very good team. Um,
The Dodgers are winning the next three.
well, I hope so. That'd be great. But I they're capable of doing it. I just think like their starting pitcher's been good. You've got DeSclafani
I
lined up
agree. I'm just
with
trying to be positive, but
no, yeah,
deep
it's
down, I'm just like, yeah, this isn't going to end well.
yeah, it's just and it's because they're a good team. It's not even. I mean, the Dodgers aren't playing their best baseball, but when the Giants are as good as they are, the Dodgers have to play their best baseball in order to keep up. And at any moment, we could be losing Max Muncy. Knock on wood. I just knocked on my table. His wife is very pregnant and is expected to deliver at any moment. She did jokingly say, I mean, obviously she has no control, but she did jokingly say she was going to try and keep the baby in until after the Giants series. So that would be fantastic because Max Muncy has 22 home runs this season, and 8 of them have come against the Giants. He has 8 home runs against the Giants in 10 games, so he's definitely much needed. But either way, as long as the Muncies have a healthy delivery, that's all that I'm
Max
sure
Muncy
he's.
completely owns the Giants. He's
Yeah.
the owner of the Giants.
He is. You had mentioned Sherfy pitched last night, and fun little fact, according to Stats LLC, he becomes the first pitcher ever to pitch for the Los Angeles Dodgers and San Francisco Giants in the same season. The last pitcher that did that was in 1943, and the teams were still on the East Coast. So this is the first time we've seen a pitcher in the same season pitch for both LA and San Francisco in the same season. So I thought that was kind of cool. He had
Yeah.
it.
And he's looked good.
Yeah,
So
had a nice little revenge game against his old team, and inning and a third, no hits, no runs, no balls, no walks, and no strikeouts. So we'll see what happens. Betts was scratched from the starting lineup a little bit before yesterday's game, maybe 2 hours or so. They had said he was on the field doing his pregame activities, and he tried to stick it out, so that's why he was put in the lineup. It just did end up not working out for him. He did come into pinch hit in the ninth, which I did not like. I did not understand. They were down 7-2. Like clearly you're scratching him because he has right hip inflammation. Like why even bring him in?
I know, and I know your options were like none or limited. Just use a pitcher who cares at this point. Whatever.
Yeah, unless Betts was like, hey, Roberts, I really want to get out there. I think I'm feeling okay. I want to get a swing in so I know what I'm feeling for tomorrow. That I'd be a little bit more understanding. But if Roberts was like, hey, Betts, get in there and go take this at bat, I'm kind of just like, hey, what are we doing here? But hopefully the rest of this series lines up. Like you said, we got Wood, then we've got Webb and DeSclafani. The Dodgers have a chance to win. They could absolutely win the next 3. Going to need the offense to show up, and the starting pitchers will have to show up. As we all know, there is a very good chance our number 1 pitching prospect, Josiah Gray, will be not getting the start tonight because he uses an opener or did his last OKC outing. but he is expected to get in there and pitch a majority of the innings tonight. I want to say Clevenger is opening the game to take the first hopefully just the first 3 batters. And then Gray's expected to come in. So that is super, super exciting. We love Josiah Gray on this podcast. Big fans. Been waiting quite some time for this. I think he's going to have the crowd behind him. And if he goes out there and does his thing, it could be an exciting kind of spark to get the team going. And hopefully, who knows what.
I did want to say that I am super excited about it because, I mean, as anybody who knows me knows that I absolutely love JoJo. I do kind of feel bad for him, though, because, the Dodgers can't get length out of the rotation besides Bueller. So I'm just hoping that he doesn't feel more pressure because it's his Major League debut, so he wants to do well there, having to go deepish into games because the bullpen's tired. And I hope that he does well because I'm a big fan of his, and as someone of color, I'm always rooting for people of color. More representation in the sport will go a long way. You have Mookie Betts, Tim Anderson, and Akil Baddoo, and countless others who are doing a great job so far. And the more representation, the better for the kids who watch baseball or who might get into baseball. So like the Verdugo trade was hard on this fan base because there are a ton of Hispanic Dodger fans, and he represented them. Now, originally for me, I didn't care too much because we were getting back Betts, who was a black man, so I was ecstatic. I now fully understand wanting to have players that represent you and who you are, look like you, and other things. There are a lot of things that are bigger than baseball, and for JoJo's sake, I hope he can just relax, try not to put so much pressure on himself, and just go out there, have fun, and pitch.
Yeah, and he has on his social media shared that type of stuff. I want to say he's involved in the Players Alliance, so I'm sure he will have some of that kind of pressure on his own back, but hopefully it all translates into good things because, like you said, role models, having people that other fans of color can look up to, all that type of stuff is always awesome, always great. My 2 younger brothers are half black, and they love seeing when players of color, black players chat. They love Chisholm. They love Betts. They love seeing all that. So if they could have a Josiah Gray to look up to and watch on their favorite baseball team every night, that would be super dope. Someone had mentioned last night, I was like, hell yeah, Josiah Gray's finally pitching. And they go, thank you, Reds. And I was like, holy shit, I forgot we completely fleeced the Reds out of Josiah Gray and Jeter Downs. And Jeter Downs helped us get Mookie Betts. So like the excitement for Josiah Gray is very, very, very at the top for this podcast. We cannot wait. I didn't plan for this, but I just realized a lot of people might not know. What can fans look for or should be expecting, or what arsenal from Josiah Gray, anything that we should know before he gets on the mound tonight? Because I know you've been watching him.
Yeah, so it's just fastball, slider, changeup, curveball, just standard pitches, but his fastball is going to be like 94, 95. He gets late run on it, though, so a lot of players can't catch up to it. He actually locates his fastball very well and gets weak contact on it when it is hit. So that's good. His slider's coming along. I know he said he was working this offseason. He said he was working on his changeup, and I think he's been using it more in AAA. So I am very excited to see how he pitches tonight. I wish he was like actually starting the game, but the opener's fine too, I guess.
Yeah, hopefully that'll help him just kind of get him going,
Relax,
out. Yeah, maybe that's what it's for. Obviously, I don't think that's what they intend to do with him full time. But in a big series, stadium's going to be hyped. It's against the Giants, so maybe they just want to give him, maybe he feels a little bit more comfortable that way. So I'm excited for it. Can't wait to see what he does tonight. I hope he goes out there and dominates. Hopefully his family, he's been with the team since I want to say yesterday. Hopefully his family's out there and that stadium gets nice and loud for him. I don't know if we mentioned this on the podcast, but I noticed it last night. We saw Cartaya get put on, what was it, like the not the restricted list, but it was like I forget what it was, but it was some list, and nobody knew why. No one knew what was going on. However, last night I had texted you this. He posted pictures of himself sitting in the front row of Dugout Club. So he's not currently playing with the
No,
Quakes,
it seems
but the
weird.
Dodgers
I don't
have him going
understand.
to games at Dodger Stadium, which is usually something they do if they were calling someone up, and they're not calling up Diego Cartaya from single
He's
A to the big
19.
leagues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
So they're not calling him up.
Especially when Kyra Ruiz is at AAA.
Yeah, and they're not going to bring a guy to LA to have him be like, hey, check out the organization just to trade him. So I don't really know what's going on there. It seems a little odd.
I mean, I've heard some things. This was like weeks ago though, that he might be more likely to be traded than Kyber, but I don't know. That it doesn't make sense to have him toward our
Yeah.
stadium and then trade him.
Yeah, like, hey, look
So
how great we are. And he's like, he takes a selfie with his Dodger hat on last night at the game, like sitting literally front row. And he's tagging all his former teammates, or at least the guys he's close with, as they're batting,
yeah,
coming in. And they're like, okay, deuces, we're going to trade you. But I mean, hey, if you're going to go,
yeah.
hey, if you're going to
So
go hit up the Minnesota Twins and give us back Jose Barrios, please.
I've been making jokes with my friends for the last few weeks saying that like Cartaya, Lux, and just random people are future A's or future Indians because Matt Chapman plays for the A's and Jose Ramirez plays for the Indians. I've been joking about it. And then my friend was like, I mean, you might not be wrong. And I was like, maybe, but it just doesn't make any sense right now.
Yeah. What do you think
Off
about
season, maybe, not
what
right
do you
now.
think about Barry? Do you think there's any chance the Dodgers could pull off Barrios? Because I was looking at his stuff, and that dude is only 27 years old in 28 days. He still has another year left of arbitration on his contract. Like, he's going to cost an arm and a leg. I want to say it was Chad Moriyama who put out an article on all the different packages it would take to get Barrios. And holy shit, it seems like it would cost quite a bit.
It's going to
Like
cost a shit ton.
yeah, like Ruiz is gone, like there's no doubt. But then there's
Yeah.
like other guys along the way, like Andre Jackson. There were a couple other guys that I saw on there, not all in the same package, but Ruiz was like the
Oh,
main.
I mean, if it's Ruiz and Andre Jackson, I'd be like, bye.
Yeah. Barrios would
And I
be, whew,
and I'm a fan of Andre Jackson,
yeah, that
but
hair.
love his hair. But I mean, it's just like if it's gonna take Ruiz and we have other catching prospects, and take Andre Jackson, we have better pitching prospects. I don't see a problem with that at all.
Plus, like
It's gonna take more
he's
than
good.
that. He's good. He's again 27. He's still under contract for what, till
Yeah,
next
next
year?
year. Yeah.
It's gonna cost a lot. And the Twins said they're gonna have to be overwhelmed for them to trade him or Buxton because they're still under contract next year. But if it's like Donaldson, who I don't think is under contract, then he could be gone. Or I don't know who else they have, but stuff like that makes sense. But people who are actually under contract, run it back next year. I don't know why you're so bad this year because you've been good the previous few years, but there's no reason to blow it up.
Don't have to blow it up, but those White Sox are kicking some ass in the AL Central, so they're doing their thing. Hey, Jose Barrios. So I've been like, I don't know why, but like totally skipping over the 2022 season and just thinking about the rotation come 2023. Obviously Barrios wouldn't be under contract come 2023, but if they re-signed him, you'd be looking at something like Buehler, Barrios, Gray, May, Urias, and then you would still have Bobby Miller to work with in that rotation.
So I forgot his name. I'm sorry. That he used to write. I don't remember his name, but he wrote an article saying that Urias should be in the bullpen. I still don't think we're there yet, but we could be getting close to Urias being a better bullpen
Oh,
option.
Jonathan. Yeah.
Yes, Jonathan.
Yeah.
We could be close to that option if if like Pepio and May and Gray and Miller all do what they're supposed to do. They could be better options.
Yeah, they could knock him out of there. Did you see Pepio was a potential discussion to get called up for tonight's game?
I'm good with that.
Like, he was one of the ones before Gray showed up. Like, I don't think there's any chance anymore, but before Gray showed up, Pepio was also being discussed as someone that would potentially get called up.
The jump from Double-A to the major leagues is really big. It's a really big
especially
gap.
against the Giants. Like, here, go play.
So, like,
go play one.
I understand that he might struggle, but he just definitely deserves to be in that conversation because he has been absolutely lights out this year.
Yeah, he's been freaking different level. off of the Giants series, all of that good stuff. Souza Jr. was DFA'd by the Dodgers, and he did re-sign a minor league deal, and he was in the OKC starting lineup last night, so they still have some depth with him there. As for the Trevor Bauer updates, MLB extended his administrative leave until July 27th. No idea what's going to happen. However, Bauer has a hearing on July 23rd, which is, I think, Friday. And that is about the current restraining order against him. So I would imagine with that hearing, there will be a lot more information brought up. I'm not even going to attempt to get into it. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm sure we will have more of an update with you guys next week, considering, yes, a week from today is the 27th. So we'll update you guys more once we have on that. Some injury updates. Kershaw, left forearm inflammation. He has started his throwing program as of Monday. He was playing catch at Dodger Stadium. Hallelujah. Great news there. Seager, who fractured his hand getting hit by a pitch. He had 7 at-bats in a simulated game on Saturday at Camelback Ranch. He hit a home run, didn't play the field, but he faced Knebel in a simulated game on Monday, and then he did play some catch, ran the bases, all that good stuff, fielded, grounded balls, through to first. He is expected to be activated off the IL any day now. Like you mentioned, Wednesday is the target they're hoping for, as long as he comes out of today. I don't know what they have planned for him today, but if he comes out today feeling good, they hope to bring him back on Wednesday.
I think there's some summer league games in Arizona. I forget the names. It's like the Dodgers DSL versus the Dodgers.
Oh, it's like it's called, I know Chris Sale just did one, and they called it the Florida Complex League. So I'm guessing that's what it is, like the Arizona Complex
it's something
League,
like that, because I know you set the pitch there.
Yeah.
And then some of the top signings of the international signings, like Galees and stuff, are playing there.
Yeah, so that's probably where he got his at-bats in. Like I said, he faced Knebel yesterday, Monday. So if Lux didn't get hurt, maybe they push it back another day or two. But with Lux getting hurt, they kind of probably feel like they want to get They wanted Seager back this series. Roberts has been talking about it for 2 weeks now. So it seems to be going well, hopefully. Would be great to get him back in there. Hopefully it doesn't take him too long to get going. Jimmy Nelson, who has the left lumbar strain, threw off the mound for the first time Monday since going on the IL. So good news there. And then Knebel is actually looking like he's ahead of schedule. They did not expect him back until the end of August. He had that right lat strain, and he's been out since April 24th. He was like arguably one of our best bullpen arms when he went down and got hurt. Pitched in a simulated game on Monday and threw between 15 and 18 pitches. I did not actually see what came out of that. I know he pitched to Seager. Seager hit a laser off the center field wall. So we're getting there. All of these notes, luckily, on injury updates, we're all looking positive and heading in the right direction. I just hope that nothing is being rushed and there's no setbacks, because the last thing we need is bringing someone back and them getting re-injured. So if we get Knebel back, that's going to be major for the bullpen. Kershaw will help a ton, because we can maybe keep Gray up and let Price go. I don't know. They're probably going to keep trying to.
Gratterall's been working on a slider in AAA, and it seems to be working. He's striking out people now, so that's nice.
Hell yeah, that's great news right there. That's what we need. So that's it for the injury update. Let's do the series look ahead really quickly, and then we'll get into the last couple things. As we mentioned tonight, although it is Garrett Clevenger most likely being the opener, it will most likely be for a chunk of the game Josiah Gray versus Alex Wood, who has a 3.67 ERA. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we're looking at Urias versus Webb, who's got a 3.54 ERA. Thursday should be a very, very good matchup. Buehler versus DeSclafani. Their ERAs are basically identical. DeSclafani has a 2.37. I think Buehler's got like a 2.36. Friday versus Rockies. It should be David Price. This is at home, so luckily we do not have to go back to cursed Coors Field. No idea who's pitching for the Rockies in any of these games. Saturday, it should be Gonsolin. Sunday, if Gray is still out there, he could be pitching on Sunday versus them. And then Monday, we've got an off day. So we've got 3 left against the Giants and then 3 against the Rockies. Like I said, I think we split the series against the Giants, which means we lose 1, win 2. But I do think we could easily sweep the Rockies at home. They have been god awful on the road this year. And the Dodgers have been very good at home. So for me this week, I'm going with 5-1 on the predictions.
They're 6-0. I said they were going to
win
the games against the Giants. So
there you go.
I have to go with it.
I like it. Hey, it's a good one. I like it. All right. You want to take us into hits of the week and then minor league minute? I don't know.
I completely forgot who had the most hits this week. I'm
going to say Betts. I win.
Mutty.
All right. I don't even.
I picked Betts too, so
that's fine.
I said I was with you. I picked Betts.
Yeah, I think it had to be. It had to have been Betts, I think. because that dude had what, 7, 8 hits, and Pollock would have been close, but he only played in 2 freaking games. So
Yeah, I would assume it's Betts. Unfortunately, he's not. I don't know how many at bats he's going to get this week. Muncie's probably going away for a few days to be with his child, so that puts a damper on things. I mean, Turner seems like the obvious choice. I'm gonna go Will Smith.
damn,
Oh wait, he hasn't played enough. Damn.
that's who
I'll go
I
Will
was
Smith.
gonna go with too, but then you took
I'm
him.
gonna go
So
Will Smith.
okay, I was gonna go Pollock. So neither of them necessarily play full time, so it might work out. Be a nice little lineup. All right. So if you want to hit us with minor league minute, and then we'll let Ray finish us off.
All right. So start with AAA. Cabrera Ruiz had another solid week. He had 5 hits. He didn't walk, but he also didn't strike out, which he's apparently really good at. He got 4 RBIs, so he really made his hits count. It's kind of unfortunate that he doesn't play any other position because it'd be nice to have his bat up there right now. Sheldon Noisy had 7 hits and 15 at bats, all singles. He also walked 5 times. Currently in AAA, he's hitting 285. He hasn't hit for the power like we expected, but I mean, at least he's hitting. If he's fixed his swing, he might be the most likely option to come up if, like Robert said, Lux might be out for a while. I don't know how true that is, but anyway, he might be the most likely option since he's right-handed. And if he fixes the swing, I think he'd be a really good option. Um, this is kind of like a Dodger fan favorite. Omar Estevez has not been good at all in AAA. He's currently hitting 207 with no power. This week he had no hits and 13 at bats. He was supposed to have like really good bat to ball skills, but he's obviously struggled with that. He does play really good defense though. The fan favorite Jacob Amaya, who's a Southern California kid and another fan favorite, has really struggled this year. He's hitting 196. Doesn't really show any power either. He's been an average hitter that seemed to get slightly better, but this year he's really regressed. But much like Estevez, he's really good at playing defense. Michael Bush is my favorite prospect since Cody Bellinger. Had another really strong week. He hit 400. He was 8 for 20, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 7 walks. The amount of walks he gets in a week are absolutely ridiculous. So he got hit by a pitch in late May, and he really struggled when he returned from the injury in like mid-June. But so far in July, he's hitting 314, OPSing at 1.172. He's been absolutely fantastic. Miguel Vargas hit 308 this week, going 8 for 26, home run, 4 RBIs. So everyone thinks Michael Bush reminds them of Max Muncy. Well, Vargas reminds me of Justin Turner. He's just a professional hitter. He doesn't try to do too much. He just takes what the pitcher gives him. He has a nice, easy swing, and that's what Justin Turner does. Justin Turner has my favorite swing in baseball besides Juan Soto. So really looking forward to seeing how Miguel Vargas progresses. Brandon Lewis of Great Lakes Loons is a 22-year-old third baseman who's been making some noise this year. This past week, he went 10 for 24. It's 418, 4 home runs, 11 RBIs. Also included a grand slam. He does strike out a lot, but he also walks a decent amount. He leads all Dodgers prospects in home runs this year with 18. So he clearly has the power. Andy Pages went 7 for 20, 4 doubles, 4 RBIs, and 6 walks. Also stole 2 bases. He had a rough start to July, but he seems to be picking it up as of late. And we're going to do one last one. And finally, we're going to finish off with someone no one's probably heard of, and that's Justin Yurchek, who's a 24-year-old second baseman for Great Lakes. What he's doing should probably be talked about more because it's incredible. For the whole season so far, he's hitting 375. He's not a big power guy. He only has 3 home runs, but he's walked 32 times. He struck out 35, so that's really good. Despite the low home runs, he's OPSing at 950 because he just hits and gets on base. His on-base percentage is currently 460, which is absolutely ridiculous. This past week, he went 13 for 26. It's a 500 average, obviously. 4 doubles, a home run, 5 RBIs, and 4 walks. He's a lot older since he's 24 than a lot of people in high A, so I wonder how he would fare in double A. If Michael Bush does get called up to triple A at some point, I imagine Yurchek will get promoted to double A, and I want to see how he does there.
Sweet. Something that popped up just as we were kind of right before we were about to record, the Dodgers did end up signing their first round draft pick, Maddox Bruns. So they did get that, and they got him just right under the slot for his for the 29th round pick. They got him for 2.2 million, and that slot is usually 2.4. So they did lock
Some of
in that
these
first
people are
round draft
signing
pick.
for a lot less than like. So I saw something on somewhere where someone got paid $400, and I'm like, oh goodness.
Yeah, I heard there's a lot of that going on with like the seniors because they know if they don't sign, they don't get drafted. So teams are just completely lowballing them to kind of get them to sign. But good on the Dodgers. They got their first round draft pick to sign. Hopefully they get all the other guys to sign. With that said, Ray, would you like to finish us off?
Yeah, a lot of injury news to go around since the All-Star break. Alex Manoah of the Blue Jays is on the 10-day IL with a right back contusion. He slipped on the dugout steps and fell in Buffalo when it was raining out. So kind of an unfortunate injury there. I'd assume he'll be okay at the end of those 10 days. Carlos Martinez of the Cardinals underwent right thumb surgery, and his season is possibly in jeopardy. And much to Randy's dismay, Jazz Chisholm is on the 10-day IL with a bone bruise in his shoulder, which he injured diving for a ball. And they're not sure the exact timeline on that. No fractures, no strains of any kind, though. So that would kind of be whenever the injury is ready. Jacob deGrom is on the IL with forearm tightness because the Mets can't seem to keep him healthy. And Francisco Lindor is also on the IL with an oblique strain that he suffered swinging. Second, really quickly with the Mets, Luis Rojas, their manager, is going to serve a 2-game suspension for excessive arguing after he exploded on the umpires after that mistake by Taiwan Walker.
Yeah, that was
dumb. That was a mistake. Yeah.
That he was he argued that it was foul when it clearly was not. So he will serve that 2-game suspension starting tonight. Our first trade coming right out of the All-Star break, Jock Peterson was traded to the Braves for first base prospect Bryce Ball.
I forgot about
Braves.
He's honestly gonna be flipped again.
And
yeah, probably.
The Braves say they're in buy mode for now, but we'll see how that works out for them towards the end of the month. If they do keep him, he does have a mutual option on that contract, so he is not necessarily a rental for them. Jake Cronenworth of the Padres had a cycle last week in Washington, the second cycle of the season. The other one being Trey Turner. The White Sox extended Lance Lynn, who was a pending free agent. They're signed up for 2 years, $38 million. There's a $18 million club option for 2024. He has been very good this year. In 90 and 2/3 innings pitched, he has a 10.4 K per nine and a 1.99 ERA. A couple other things.
I would just like to say really quickly, I fucked up when I said the Dodgers shouldn't trade for him. Okay. Anyways, we could keep going because I've always, not always, that'd be a really dumb statement. Last couple of years, I've like jokingly claimed the White Sox as my AL team just because like love Tim Anderson, love the way that team plays, and I just love their uniforms. And I love watching the clips of Lance Lynn like coming out and just motherfuckering everyone all the time. And seeing his stats, I'm like, God damn, I did not think this guy was going to do this. And now I'm like, oh, I wish the Dodgers would have. And I was like, full force, do not trade for Lance Lynn the entire time. And now I'm like, God, I feel so stupid. They should have traded for Lance Lynn. I just had to throw that out there because I've been thinking a lot about it the last couple days. So, okay, that was all. Go ahead.
Yeah, last couple of things. Alex Reyes, the Cardinals closer, set an MLB record with 24 consecutive saves to begin his career without blowing a save. He passes LaTroy Hawkins in that record. And then the Toronto Blue Jays will actually be returning to Toronto on July 30th. So baseball will be back in Canada at the end of the month. And then that is it for a pretty busy week of MLB news.
Oh, and Vladdy Guerrero is still killing it.
Yeah, yes. He is. It's not so much MLB news, but it did happen in MLB, and I just want to very quickly touch on it. Saturday night in Washington, D.C., we all have heard about that shooting. Really nothing to say about it except for that's fucking terrifying. Like as someone who attends as many baseball games as I do, it like hit me very hard and it made me very, very sad. And I teared up, especially because I have family who lives in Washington and actually had tickets to go to Sunday's game. So I was like very stressed out the whole time that was going down, but I have to give a special well, not special because everyone's doing it, but a shout out to Machado, Tatis, and Myers for going into the stands, grabbing family members of whether it's other players, fans, and taking them into the dugout. I had read something that security had locked the gate because obviously security's job is to protect the players. They locked the gate, told everyone to stay in their seats. Machado, Tatis, Myers ran out there, unlocked the gate, told the fans to get into the dugouts. When you're there and already have the stress of your own family there, let alone your own well-being, and don't know where those shots are coming from. At the time, no one knew if they were in the stadium, outside the stadium. These guys left their place of being safe to help other fans. I can't that was such a huge thing. And I give so much respect for those 3 players to do that, because I just don't know what I would ever do in a situation like that, because that had to be like the most terrifying thing any of them have ever really experienced.
And Tatis Jr. had said like he didn't have any personal family there, but since he considers his teammates family, he had to run and go get their families to make sure they were safe. So that was really dope, and it was really nice to see.
Yeah, it's nice to know that the baseball is not just in good hands when you talk about the way it's played, but also the integrity of the people who are considered the face of the sport. So shout out to the Padres for that. And kind of even Dave Martinez from the Nationals was taking fans into his office, and they were asking him like, hey, is this family? And he said, they're fans, they're family, they're coming with me. So that was really big for kind of just everyone coming together and doing that. Hopefully they catch the people that were involved and we do not hear anything more like this, because we had that terrifying thing go on in Colorado where they found the guns, and I don't believe a word that they say that those people were not there to target the All-Star game.
Wait, what happened?
Oh, you didn't hear about what happened in Colorado
No.
the day before the All-Star game? The day before Home Run Derby, they arrested 4 people in a hotel room a block from the All-Star game that had over 1,000 bullets and 16 long guns in their hotel room.
Christ.
And the FBI said it had nothing to do with the All-Star game, and I don't believe any of that. So
sure.
Just people be kind. Keep your eyes, ears open. If you see anything suspicious, report it. It's always better to say something than not and have a horrible tragedy come from it. So good on baseball, good on the housekeeper in Denver that reported those guns and ammo and everything, and good on the Padres and the Nationals for doing what they needed to do. Other than that, that was all I had for this week, and let's just freaking hope the Dodgers can go. We've got a nice full schedule coming up ahead of us in the NL West. We got 3 more against the Giants, 3 more against the Colorado Rockies before an off day on Monday. We will be back with you guys on Tuesday. As always, make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, follow, whatever it is, whatever platform you are on. Don't forget to leave us a rating and review. We always appreciate it. You can check out our website, DodgerYard.com. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube at DodgerYard, and Facebook. You can find me at Randy_Radcliffe on Twitter and IG.
You can go to allmylinks.com/Konu, KONU, and find my social medias on there.
You can follow me on Twitter at Stingray417.
And as always, we hope you guys have a good rest of your morning, night, afternoon, weekend, whenever it is you listen to this. Go Dodgers, and we will catch you guys next week. Bye, guys.
See you later, guys.